You know, this is a story about how 3 decades of Polish craftsmanship were completely transformed into rock-solid cross-border credibility. It's about a company that realized they had to build something far more important than just buildings. They had to build trust. So, let's dive into how they pulled it off.
All right, so picture this. We're in Rzeszów City Hall. The air is buzzing with ambition at the Doing Business with the UK conference. It was organized by the British-Polish Chamber of Commerce, bringing together the heavy hitters, business leaders, innovators, you name it. And in this really high-stakes professional environment, one company's story just completely stood out as a perfect example of how to go global. So this brings us to the big question, right? How does a company with decades of success at home take all that experience and, well, not just translate it, but transform it into real trust and credibility in a brand new market? It's a massive challenge that so many companies face, and honestly, very few get it right.
And the answer? Well, it comes straight from our guide on this journey, Ewelina Oczoś of Reconal. She got up at that conference and basically laid out the entire blueprint for how her company didn't just show up in a new market, but how they truly earned their spot there. Now, what's really interesting here is the bigger picture. Counselor Stephen Cohen from London, he kind of set the stage with this incredibly powerful statement. He reminded everyone that the connection between Poland and Britain goes deep, way beyond just business deals. And that sense of a long-standing partnership, it was the absolute perfect backdrop for the story Reconal had to tell.
So, to really get why their move into the UK was such a big deal, you have to look at where they came from. I mean, Reconal didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They spent 30 solid years perfecting their craft right there in Poland. And this timeline just shows it perfectly. They started back in '93 simply making windows and doors. But they didn't stop there. They kept growing, kept adding more complex stuff like curtain walling, built bigger facilities, brought in automation, and eventually mastered really technical skills like structural glazing. This wasn't luck. This was deliberate, steady, impressive growth. So by the time they even thought about going international, they were already experts in a huge range of things. We're talking complex aluminum and steelwork, super advanced ventilated facades, even cutting-edge photovoltaic solutions. They had the skills, the technical muscle. The real question was, how could they make it work somewhere else? And all that expertise, it became the launch pad for the next chapter in their story. A truly ambitious leap into one of the most competitive construction markets in all of Europe. Let's pinpoint the date, 2015. After more than 2 decades of becoming masters in Poland, the idea of expanding internationally really started to take hold. And look, this was no sudden impulse buy. This was a calculated, strategic decision to see if their expertise could hold up on the world stage.
You might be asking, why the UK? Well, like Ewelina explained, it was totally strategic. The UK market was stable, it had a ton of the kind of big, challenging projects they loved, the rules were clear, and hey, a common business language certainly didn't hurt. It was the perfect place to prove themselves.
Okay, but here it is. This is the absolute heart of the story. Success was never going to come from just packing up their Polish products and shipping them to Britain. No, it was going to require a fundamental top-to-bottom transformation of their entire business.
This little phrase from Ewelina is everything. It's pure gold. You can't just translate your website into English and call it a day. You have to literally transform how you work, how you think, and how you deliver value to meet the very specific expectations of that new market. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. Look at the shift. They went from being a component supplier, basically just shipping boxes of parts from Poland, to being a complete, full-service partner. That meant taking total responsibility from design and engineering all the way to installation and support right there on the ground in the UK. That is how you build trust.
Now let's be real, this was not easy. They hit some major hurdles. Trying to get UK-specific insurance when nobody knows who you are, navigating all the new customs rules after Brexit, finding and training good local installers. It was tough. They even had to go through this rigorous financial accreditation called Construction Line, just to prove they were stable enough to even be considered for projects. So, after all that blood, sweat, and paperwork, what was the result? Well, the proof, as they say, isn't in the pudding. In this case, it's in the incredible architecture that is now literally part of the UK landscape. Let's start with a number that just makes you go, wow. £8 million. That was their turnover last year, in the UK alone. That single number tells you almost everything you need to know about how successful their transformation was.
But the best stories are visual, right? Check this out.
1 St. John's Wood in London. This is a super prestigious, high-end residential project. It's more than just a building. It's a physical statement about the quality and trust they worked so hard to build.
And if you thought that was impressive, what about this? Chesterfield House. We're talking twin residential towers soaring 96 meters into the sky. The scale here is just staggering, and it proves they can handle absolutely massive, complex jobs from start to finish.
And for the ultimate test of pure technical skill, look no further. Their work on train stations in West London. This wasn't just glass. This was complex, bomb blast-resistant curtain walling. Think about the level of precision and reliability you need for a job like that. It's off the charts.
So, after seeing all that, what can the rest of us learn from this incredible journey? Because Reconal's story is more than just inspiring. It's a clear, practical blueprint for any company with dreams of expanding across borders.
And here it is, the 5-step blueprint Ewelina shared. It really boils down to 2 things: preparation and presence. You have to do your homework. You have to be there, building real relationships on the ground. You absolutely have to master the local rules and regulations. You've got to adapt how you communicate. And most importantly, you let your quality do the talking.
I gotta say, I absolutely love this quote from Ewelina. It's so honest and so smart. That Polish "we'll figure it out as we go" attitude is amazing for getting things done. But she's saying in a market like the UK, that's a no-go. You have to have everything figured out before you even start. Preparation is everything.
So when you think about it, from that conference room in Rzeszów all the way to the London skyline, Reconal's journey is just this powerful reminder. Trust isn't something you're given. It's something you build piece by piece with the exact same precision, patience, and vision you'd need to build a skyscraper.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. In a world where things are always changing, this story is just a fantastic testament to the power of partnership and the will to adapt. It really makes you wonder, what's going to be the next great story of European cooperation?